Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to the first edition of In Literacy and Numeracy News, presented to you by VRJ Education Consultants. We offer one-on-one thesis support, research support, learning assessments of primary and high school students, educational resource design, personalized tutoring, as well as seminars and training from primary school, high school, coming up to the tertiary level. So for today, in Literacy and Numeracy News, we are going to be talking about this recent article published by JIS and in the Jamaica Observer about the Education Ministry looking to scale up its literacy and numeracy programs. And why is this necessary? The main issue here is coming from data collected from the Jamaica Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey, which is data that was collected between April and August 2022. So we are getting the data now, or the results now in 2024, but this is actually a snapshot back in time. And they looked at students ages 7 to 14 and how they're performing in terms of literacy and numeracy. When we aggregated all the data, when they aggregated all the data, they found that a full 38% of these students had not acquired foundational reading skills. So we had almost 40% of students, 47 in 2022, did not have sufficient reading skills. And only 50%, so we had another 50% of students that did not have foundational numeracy skills. There were some specific schools identified by the Minister of Education. They had identified 225 schools that were not performing at satisfactory levels. But we can understand that within a school, we will have some students that are doing well, even if the school itself overall is not performing well. And we also have students that may be in schools that are performing well, but that student still needs support. When they disaggregated the data, they looked at the impact of income on the performance of the children. So when we look at the richest households, these children are doing relatively well. Over 80% of these students had foundational reading skills, and I'm going to point out why that would be the case later on. But when we're coming to the students that live in poor households, less than half of them had these reading skills. So we see that's a very big gap in terms of the performance of students based on their income levels. Similarly, when it comes to numeracy skills, more than 2/3 of those living in high-income households had a decent level, the required level of numeracy skills, where only a third of those living in the poorest households. So in both cases, we're seeing a significant gap of over 30 points between the richest and the poorest households. So why is that the case? This is linked to the kinds of things that parents can do to help their child if they have issues with literacy or with numeracy. Now, first, you want to identify what are your child's specific areas of weakness. If we're talking about literacy, you need to understand that there are different areas and the child may be struggling in one or more of those areas. It may be spelling, it may be writing, reading, phonics, reading comprehension. In a lot of higher income households, children will get regular reading practice. And this is something that parents can start today. Find books that are suited to the child's current level, not the level that you want them to be at. Look at the child's current level and read with the child, and otherwise work out how you are going to have that child practicing regularly. And you know, the ideal would be every day. You can encourage storytelling and writing activities from the children to help improve their literacy and their creativity. There was recently another story in the news where a program in Jamaica where the school said these children are not too young to publish their own book. And these young children wrote their own books and illustrated their own books. These kinds of initiatives help to improve literacy and creativity. If it's not happening in the school, you need to find somewhere else that it is happening. You can also use educational resources when it comes to literacy. There are specific workbooks that you can use. We can make recommendations. You also have apps that, again, are specifically related to literacy. If the child's problem is phonics, you want to find a resource that is related to that area. Communicate with your child's teacher if you can. Seek to understand the curriculum, discuss the strategies. Where is the child weak? Where is the child falling down? Where does the child need support? Okay. In all of that, either together with that, or if you are not able to do those things, consider seeking assistance. Again, this may be where the higher income households are able to perform better because they're able to afford literacy specialists, tutors. They can put their child in remedial programs. Again, look and see what resources are there for your child to use. As I said, when it comes to numeracy, several of the steps are the same. What is your child's area of weakness? Keep in mind, if the child is weak on some of the foundational issues, you're going to find it difficult to build on that background. So you need to identify the core areas of weakness and provide targeted practice and support for your child. In terms of math, numeracy, look again for educational resources. It can be workbooks that are specifically focused on different areas of numeracy. Incorporate numeracy as well. We discuss literacy into your everyday activities. Have them count, have them measure out 1 cup of flour. You have games that are specifically related to numeracy. All right. So again, you want to make it fun for them to be counting. Get a dot-to-dot book where they have to count from 1 to 10 to make the picture. 1 to 300 to make the picture. These are ways where the child is doing a dot-to-dot. They're also practicing their counting. Again, try to be in dialogue with your children's teachers. They know a lot about what is going on with your child, and they know what is expected of the child. Finally, you may need to seek a tutor. You may need to get a remedial numeracy program because it doesn't make sense to have the child keep going forward and the central weaknesses have not been addressed. Thank you very much for staying with me. If you have questions about these issues when it comes to numeracy and literacy, feel free to send us an email at reedjohnsonconsulting@gmail.com. You can also WhatsApp us at 801-2578. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at VRJ Education Consultants.